Hey folks, it's Greg and Janet with Strange RV Tours. Today we're in Goldfield, Nevada. We're going to take you around to a lot of the historic buildings and sites here in Goldfield, Nevada. Goldfield's an old mining town. It's kind of a ghost town now, but it's one of the most historic and important cities in all of Nevada. So let's get started.
Strange RV Tours will take you places with Greg and Janet's smiling faces. You might see a crazy flavored soda review or some tips to fit your RV too. So come along, won't you join us, friend, as we discover what's around the bend. Just sit right back in your easy chair. Strange RV Tours is on the air. Strange RV Tours is on the air.
This historic home that I'm standing in front of in Goldfield, Nevada is the J.P. Loftus House, which was built in 1906. Mr. Loftus was one of the most successful and reputable mining operators in the Goldfield district. He had a longtime partner, J.R. Davis. The two of them leased Block 5 here in Goldfield of the Sandstrom mine, and that mine was originally located by Goldfield discoverer Harry Stimler. In just over a year's time, the mine had produced over $200,000 in ore. Loftus had controlling interest in the Goldfield Publishing Company and bought controlling interest in a lot of other mines in this area, including Rhyolite, Round Mountain, Diamond Field, Fairview. Mr. Loftus was also the president of the Montezuma Club, which was where all the bigwigs, all the mining bigwigs would join that club. All the owners, and I guess from what I understand, they were successful in breaking the mining union. This was his home. I find it fascinating that in today's time, people are so much more vain, I guess would be the word. You know, everybody wants a McMansion now, and you look at gentlemen that back in those days were considered millionaires. Back in the early 1900s, they had modest homes. I'm looking around to see if I see any bathtubs. A lot of work to be done to clear this property up. I'm standing on the corner of Myers and Bellevue in Goldfield, Nevada. And this historic home in front of me is the Major W.A. Stanton House. It was built in 1906. W.A. Stanton, Major Stanton, was one of the leading mining engineers during the peak years of Goldfield boom. His career included consulting and mining engineering for many of the most prominent mining companies in Goldfield. He also worked for John Mackay in the latter years of the Comstock boom. And this home is in the middle of being remodeled also, it looks like, and they're doing a really good job. This is a nice home. It almost reminds me of the shotgun style homes in New Orleans. They got a scary scarecrow in the window. This is a nice little home. I'm not going to get too close to it because it's obvious that somebody is residing in it. But I'll give you an idea what it looks like. We're standing at 206 Ramsey in Goldfield, Nevada. This building was the Southern Nevada Consolidated Telephone and Telegraph Company. It was built in 1905. Telephone and telegraph lines were first run from Tonopah to Goldfield in 1904. By 1907, at the peak of Goldfield's boom with over 20,000 people, telegraph and telephones had basically become very important. You couldn't do without them within the mining industry, and living in what was the largest city of Nevada at the time. After the mining had started to decline here in Goldfield, this building continued to serve communication needs for this entire area. On one note here, Jim Casey, who was co-founder of UPS, owned and operated a messenger service in this building in 1906. And this was the Consolidated Telephone Telegraph Company building. And it was one of the few buildings that was spared during the fire that destroyed 53 blocks of the downtown area in 1923. I'll show you the inside of it here. Beautiful building. Just like the old West movies, folks. You got the old tell-tillers there. Very grand building. These stones that were built, that built this building, were quarried here in this area. But look at the difference that the stone construction had over brick and siding construction. This building here is basically on its last leg, starting to fall apart. This building here, it's got another 100 years in it. All right, we are on Main Street here in Goldfield, Nevada. And this is the ruins of the Sideboard Saloon. It was built in 1907 by saloon keeper Patrick Mullen. It was a one-story wood building. Its stone arch entrance is still one of the most photographed areas of Goldfield. I can't tell you how many photos I've seen of this arch right here, with the sun coming down behind it or different light sources. But this was the Sideboard Saloon. I am officially entering the Sideboard Saloon.
Yeah.
Pretty drafty place. How neat. Look at the
light bulbs that would have been up there.
Yeah, you can see the sources for the power too.
Here's a little round mosaic type tile for the entry.
How cool. I've seen so many pictures of this.
Yeah.
This property that I'm walking up to here is the Henry W. Miles and Company Stone Cellar, built in 1905 by H.W. Miles. A single-story wood building in front of the stone cellar on Main Street, just south of the Esmeralda Hotel, housed the grocery store, grocery mercantile store. Miles left the area in 1913. The storefront burned in the 1923 fire. Today, the descendants still own and maintain the property, but the stone cellar is still here. And this is the stone cellar. It's got a ring here on the edge of the building. I believe that would be to tie horses to. I'm not sure of that, but that sure looks like what it would be for, that time frame. Got the collection of old cars that every property in Goldfield seems to have. But this was the stone cellar. And the grocery and mercantile store would have sat right here in this area in front of where I'm at. You can see the Goldfield Hotel off in the distance. Okay, I am standing in front of the R.W. Norrington House. Built in 1907, R.W. Norrington was a prominent mining promoter, and he developed several mines in the Goldfield region. And this home does look like it's occupied. So I'm not going to get too close. I don't want to spook the owners. But I'll show you what I can. This is the main drag through Goldfield right here. It's really a pretty property. To think this home is, goodness, it's now 114 years old. Okay folks, this home right here in front of me in Goldfield, Nevada was owned by D.W. Morgan. It is called the D.W. Morgan Houses, built in 1907. D.W. Morgan was an early saloon keeper and continued to own this property until his death in 1932. Once again, it seems like all the houses that were built out of stone survived the fires and are still standing. Sure makes you think about what you want to build your home out of. Well folks, we hope you enjoyed this little tour that we did of Goldfield, Nevada historic buildings. If you did, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit the little bell up in the corner. Please share these videos, check out our Patreon site. And folks, we hope you have a great day.